Hi, guys. I'm here today with your reading focus lesson. So, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about clues that the authors leave for us as readers that we can collect, kind of like reading detectives, that'll help us make theories or inferences about the characters in their books. We talked about how authors don't always come right out and say exactly how a character is as a person, and instead, we kind of have to piece together these clues and make up our own theories and thoughts about these characters. So far we've talked about characters' actions and how those tell us about characters, and we've talked about their feelings and we've talked about their thoughts and how all of those things we can piece together to come up with who these characters are. Well, today I'm going to be talking to you about another clue that the author leaves for us, and that's the character's words or what they say. So, how can what a character says help us make theories about them? Pause the video here and think about it for a few seconds, and then turn and talk to the person next to you about why or how you think what a character says can help us learn more about them. Go ahead and pause the video here now. So, hopefully, you got a chance to share some of your thoughts with your partner, maybe even with the whole group. And so, what I want you to understand about characters' words is that what a character says can reveal a lot about them, or sometimes even what they don't say can tell us a lot about them. Not only that, or what they say, but how they say it or how they talk to other characters can help us understand them and make inferences about who they are. So think about it for a second. In some of the books you've read, you might have come across characters who are really loud and boisterous and they like to talk a lot. And that tells us that those characters kind of like to be the center of attention, right? They like to hear themselves talk, they might be friendly, they're outgoing. Um, and that type of character we might have all recognized in books that we've read in the past. There's also sometimes characters who maybe don't say too much. They kind of are in the shadows. They talk quietly. They don't want to speak up. And those characters we generally can think of as maybe a little bit nervous. They're kind of shy and maybe don't really like to be the center of attention. So we can see how the differences in not only what a character says, but how they say it can change the way we think about them. Can you think of some examples in your own lives where you can think about either the tone or the way someone says something to you and what you can infer from that? Or even in some other books you've read, some examples of some times where what a character says has made you think differently about them. Pause the video here and think about some examples. So, one example I can think of is when I was growing up and my mom would tell me to clean my room. And the first time she'd ask, she'd kind of ask in a normal tone. She'd say, Go ahead, or I need you to clean my room. She'd ask me nicely. And from that, I can infer she wants me to clean my room, but if I don't get to it right away, it's fine. However, if I ignore that request and don't clean my room for a couple days, then the next time my mom asked me, she asked probably in a little bit of a raised voice and maybe in not such a nice way. And from that I can infer, well, my mom sounds like she's pretty angry right now, and it's probably something that I need to do right away, right? So the way people say things can also affect how we think of them as characters. So, one example from Wonder, let's take a look at Augie today and talk about how what Augie says can help us make some inferences about who he is as a character. So, one thing that Augie has expressed throughout the book, and he says to his mom, if we think back to that scene when his mom's tucking him in at night, and he kind of breaks down, he tells her he wishes he had a normal face. So that's something that Augie tells us as readers, and that's something that we can then use to make an inference or to figure out some more information about who Augie is as a character. So think about it now, and if you have an idea, you can show with a thumbs up of how these words that Augie speaks can help reveal something about him as a character. And you can pause the video here while you think, and then we'll come back and talk about some of your solution or some of your answers. So hopefully you guys have lots of thumbs up and lots of ideas about what this reveals about Augie. So let's share out. What are some of your ideas or theories about Augie based on what he tells us about wishing he had a normal face? So on the screen here, you have a couple inferences that I made, and they may be very similar or close to some of the inferences that you made as well. So Augie saying that he wishes he had a normal face tells me that Augie doesn't really like the way he looks. He doesn't want to stand out. He just wants to fit in and be normal and not be seen as different, which he has been his whole life. It also tells me that Augie is kind of frustrated. He's tired of being stared at and people only focusing on the way he looks and not who he is as a person. So even though Augie didn't come out and say all of these things, I can use what he says about wishing he had a normal face to then infer that Augie's not too happy with the way he looks. He wants to fit in and he's frustrated with his situation. So, this is where I'm going to leave you today to do some more reading of Wonder. I'm sad that I'm not in person to be able to read to you. This is one of my favorite stories, and I hope that you're enjoying the reading so far and that you're learning more about Via and some of the other characters as well. And so, you're going to do some reading of Wonder now, and then you're going to have a chance to later come back and fill in your characterization chart, the words section for your independent reading book. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.